If you're thinking about quitting, ask yourself, is it because it is truly not aligned anymore? Or is it because it's taking much longer than you expected? And fear is trying to protect you from the unknown. Because if it is fear, then the breakthrough that you are waiting for is likely on the other side of it. Welcome to the Self-Made Pod, the go-to podcast for freelancers, entrepreneurs, and everyone who's ready to stop dreaming and start doing. I'm your host, Coach Darla, and today we're going to talk about something that is so real, so raw, and it might also be uncomfortable because we're talking about something that a lot of people struggle with, but no one talks about honestly. How do you know when it's time to quit? We do not talk about this often because somewhere along the way, we were taught that quitting is failure. That if you walk away, you are weak. That winners never quit and quitters never win. Today, I wanted to share with you 5 things that I look at before deciding whether I keep on going or I quit. I'm also going to be sharing real stories from my journey, so I hope you find this episode valuable. Let's dive right in. The first thing that I look at and think about is answering the question, are you tired or are you drained? We know that sometimes you are not just tired, you are drained. But let's talk about the difference of the two because this is very important, especially for creatives like us. Being tired is when you have a long day, you feel exhausted, but deep down, you still care. You just need a break, a good night's sleep, or maybe a day off. And when you rest, guess what? Your fire comes back. You start thinking, okay, I'm ready to go again. But being drained feels different. It is when no amount of rest brings you back to life. It's when you take the weekend off and the Monday feels so heavy. It is when you look at your calendar and you feel dread and not excitement. And it is also when you start imagining a different life, just so you can finally breathe. That is the sign. And it's not about being lazy. It's not about being ungrateful. I believe it's about being completely misaligned. Misaligned in the way that the work that you do no longer lights you up, working with clients that you don't resonate with, and being in a system that burns you out. And I've been there for a lot of times. There was a time in my freelancing journey na kahit na anong pahinga, I always wake up anxious. I was saying yes to everything just to survive, but I was slowly losing sight of why I started doing it in the first place. I knew I was not just physically tired, I was emotionally drained. And that's when I knew that something had to change. But here's what I want you to ask yourself. Is it the entire path that's draining you? Or is it the way that you are currently walking it? Because based on what I just told you, a lot of you may be feeling so tired. But again, is it the entire path or is it the way that you are currently doing it? Because most of the time, you don't need to quit what you're doing. You don't need to quit that job. You don't need to quit that business. You don't need to quit freelancing. You just need to quit doing it the wrong way. The second question that I answer is, are you acting from fear or from wisdom? There was a chapter in my freelancing journey that I hit a wall. I had dry months, no money coming in, no leads. There was no excitement at all. And it felt like my momentum died overnight. And I thought about quitting and finding a real job again. The answer wasn't because I stopped loving what I was building. It was because I was terrified. Terrified that maybe I was not good enough. Terrified that success wasn't meant for someone like me. I was terrified of looking like a fool for dreaming something so big. But you know what I learned? Fear makes you want to run, but wisdom makes you want to rise. If you're thinking of quitting just because it's uncomfortable, because it is slow, or maybe because you're scared, you might not need to quit. You might need to dig deeper. You know what? Fear disguises itself as logic. It tells you, hey, play it safe. It whispers, maybe this is not for you. And fear pushes you to make reactive decisions. Fast, panicky, desperate. But wisdom asks you to pause, to reflect, to align. And wisdom doesn't always say, keep going, but it will never say, give up just because you're scared. So if you're thinking about quitting, ask yourself, is it because it is truly not aligned anymore? Or is it because it's taking much longer than you expected? And fear is trying to protect you from the unknown. Because if it is fear, then the breakthrough that you are waiting for is likely on the other side of it. The third question that I ask myself is, have you given it your real, honest best? There's a big difference between getting tired of something and giving it your all. And I'll be the first to admit, there were times in my freelancing journey when I said, maybe this isn't working. When deep down, I knew I hadn't really given it everything. Sure, I was posting. Sure, I was trying. But if I was being completely honest with myself, I was also holding back. I was scared to show my face online. I was avoiding outreach because I was scared of rejection. I was creating content, but only when I felt like it. I was half studying the courses and calling it progress. But then I was wondering, why is this not growing? And that's the tough pill to swallow. Sometimes we say it's not working, when in reality, we've just been playing it safe. There was one point when I was about to pause everything. The funnel building, the content, the client hunting. But my mentor asked me a question that hit me like a truck. What would it look like if you honestly gave it your best? Not your comfortable best. Not your lazy best. Not your when I feel inspired best. But your real, focused, no excuses best. That's the question that made me sit down and journal about everything that I was avoiding. I realized I haven't even done consistent outreach in weeks. I was not updating my portfolio. I was not asking for testimonials. I wasn't even asking for the sale. I wanted momentum without movement. So before you quit, you ask yourself, have you really gone all in? Have you been consistent not just for a week but for a whole season? Have you gotten uncomfortable and tried new strategies? Have you reached out to more people, followed up more, and refined your message? Because most of the time, honestly, we're not failing. We are just avoiding the version of us who's actually capable of winning. And trust me, you would know when you've truly given it your best. It feels different because whether you win or not, you will feel at peace with the effort that you gave. So if you're on the edge right now, do not quit on a half-finished effort. Show up one more time, but this time do it fully, honestly, completely, and then you decide. Fourth question is this discomfort or true misalignment? This one is tricky, but let's be honest. Not everything that feels uncomfortable is wrong. Sometimes we say that we are not aligned when really we are just being stretched. Sometimes we say that maybe this is not for me when really we are just afraid of being seen as someone starting small. So let me tell you a story. When I first started building funnels, I had this client who wanted everything done in a week. The strategy, the copy, the design, the tech, the automations. And I said yes, even though I'm so terrified. Because I wanted to prove myself. And on day 3, I was staring at my screen, questioning myself. Why am I doing this? Am I even meant for this kind of work? Maybe this is a sign I should stop. But looking back, that was not misalignment. That was just discomfort. I was doing something new, something hard, and something that is forcing me to grow. And that kind of discomfort is normal. It's what comes with the upgrade. That is the emotional tax that we pay when we do something we haven't done before. But misalignment, that feels different. It's not dread, it is stress. It's when you show up over and over and over again, but you feel disconnected with the purpose. It is when your values and your actions are constantly in conflict with one another. It's when even on your best days, your gut always tells you, this is not it. Now, here's a good way to tell the difference. Ask yourself, is this discomfort leading me to something better? Or is this discomfort trying to tell me the truth that I don't want to admit? For example, waking up early to batch content that's uncomfortable. But lying to yourself about loving a niche that you actually hate, that's misalignment. Spending a weekend to learn copywriting that's uncomfortable, but forcing yourself to follow a business model that makes you feel trapped, that's misalignment. An example of this is that we thought that building an agency is the end goal, but maybe it's not aligned with what you want. There's a big difference. So, no, do not run at the first sign of discomfort, but do pay attention if the path itself feels wrong, because here's what I've learned. When it is misalignment, no strategy will save it. And when it is discomfort, the only way out is through. So before you quit, take a moment. Close your eyes, get still, and ask yourself, is this helping me to become the version of myself that I want to become? Or is this slowly pulling me farther away from who I really am? Because no strategy, no coach, no podcast, even this one, can answer that for you. Only you can feel the difference. And the fifth question that I ask myself, and this is one of the most important, am I quitting the vehicle or the destination? This is the question that changed the game for me. Am I quitting because I no longer want the dream? Or am I quitting because the path that I chose to get there is not working? There was a time that I felt on giving up on my funnel design agency business. I was burnt out. I was exhausted from clients ghosting us. I was frustrated that my team members are earning more than what I earn. And that's when I thought, maybe business is not for me. Maybe freelancing is not for me. Maybe I was just fooling myself. Maybe it's really time for me to move on. I tried my best. But then before I quit, I sat down one night and I asked myself, do I still want freedom? Do I still want to build something of my own? And do I still believe I'm meant for more? And my answer was easily a yes. But I realized it wasn't working because I was doing it in a way that didn't feel aligned anymore. I was offering services I didn't love. I was undercharging but over-delivering and marketing myself that didn't even feel like me. So I changed the vehicle and not the dream. I restructured my offers. I learned how to position myself better. And I started teaching what I knew. I focused on creating content that felt authentic for me. And that made all the difference. Because here's the truth. Sometimes you don't need to give up your mission. Sometimes you don't need to give up your vision. You just need to upgrade the vehicle. You are not a failure if you're gonna change it, if you're gonna pivot. You are not flaky if you change the strategy. That is what wise people do. They adapt. They stay committed with the destination but flexible with the road. So ask yourself right now, are you tired of the dream or are you just tired of the way you're trying to get there? Because you are always allowed to change the how without letting go of the why. So there you have it. Those are the 5 powerful questions that I ask myself before I give up. If today's episode made you pause, reflect, or maybe tear up a little, good. Because quitting is not weak. Asking these questions is not weak. It takes strength to be honest with yourself. You are not lazy. You are not lost. You might just be tired, or drained, or misaligned, or walking the right path with the wrong shoes. And before you throw everything away, before you quit the dream that once lit you up, I want you to try one more thing. Because maybe, just maybe, you don't really need to quit. You just need a better system. That is why I created the 3-Day Funnel Challenge. It is for people like you, freelancers, creatives, dreamers, who want to finally earn from what they do best, but just needs a clearer roadmap. Inside the 3-Day Funnel Challenge, I will guide you through identifying the different types of funnels and how you can serve clients with them, how you can write a copy for your very own funnel, how you can build and automate the funnel so that you will have your very own system at the end of the sessions. The whole challenge is practical. It is step by step. And it is designed to finally help you stop guessing but start working. This time, you don't have to figure it out all alone. So before you walk away from what could be everything you've always wanted, give yourself one last shot. And join us through the link below, and let's build your first funnel and reignite your belief in what's possible. Because you are not done. You're just getting started. And if this episode helped you in any way, please subscribe so you never miss what's next. Now, go take action, make it happen. This is the Self-Made Pod, and I will catch you in the next episode.